What is up, y'all? It is Slitherwin here to bring you another Harry Potter Wizards Unite live stream Q&A. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for those who have asked questions, and thank you to these wonderful, wonderful human beings for being here today. These are all of some of the amazing YouTubers out there, and I'm going to head and pass this off along the way to introduce yourselves. First, we have XpectoGO, our Chief Research Analyst. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Sue from XpectoGO. I'm here representing for James and myself. Excited to be here.
Very nice. Thanks for being here. And next we have Animagus, our Chief Effects Champion.
Hey, I'm Matt, and I am here representing just myself. So glad to be here. It's always fun to hang out, talk to you guys.
Always amazing. And next we have James from Wizards News, our Chief Wand Maker.
Hi, y'all. I'm here today. This is going to be a lot of fun, don't you think so?
Okay, and next we have Wizard Way Chris, our Chief Potions Master.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris. My channel is Wizard Way. And I am still recovering from being at Universal, so I've got some rest going on today. There shall be food.
And I think you got something on your head. What is that?
These are my Spectre Spec riding goggles.
Those are so cool.
I want to buy some. Can you send me that link?
Seriously, they are on Amazon and they're like $15. Like best purchase I ever made.
Shut up.
The only thing you can see through them though is nargles. Just
I need that. That's what I need.
Hey, it got me on the camera crew's radar at Universal, so I can't complain.
That's awesome.
Cool. So I want to say thank you again for being here. Super awesome to have you all along for some amazing, wonderful opportunities to talk about some Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Of course, I am Slitherwin, your certified chief hype man. We are in our stream mode here, so definitely going to be hanging out, excited, so much stuff going on. And here we have for us today some phenomenal questions. If you do have questions for the stream, make sure you drop down below. Throw those in the Google form. They will be submitted, and hopefully we can throw those in, attach them alongside. Super exciting stuff. Cannot wait for some of these amazing questions, and I think you guys hopefully will have some good answers for your stuff going on. Now, first and foremost, I want to say to those of you that are new here, thank you for being here. Make sure you are subscribed, and all of these folks here, we will go ahead and have you guys subscribe as well. So all these channels, amazing, amazing content, and amazing, excellent content creators. Very awesome, and I'm very appreciative to be a YouTuber alongside these wonderful folks. First question that we have in our queue, this actually came from an Instagram question from Wizards Unite Germany, and they asked, do you think June 23rd will be our release date? Go ahead, start us off, Sue.
The 23rd?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's very specific. Maybe. all I know is soon. I don't know. Why would it be the 23rd? Maybe I've missed something. The 23rd is extremely specific. Matt?
It was, so I just clicked my calendar because I forgot what day it was. So the 23rd is actually a week from tomorrow. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to everybody out there who is a dad. You're killing it. Keep being awesome. And that's not part of the question, but I just thought I'd throw a little shout out there to dads everywhere. So a week from tomorrow is a Sunday. As far as like games that I've played in the past, usually launch, if it's a console game or a PC game or something like that, even Pokemon Go launched in the middle of the week. And I said this a long, long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But like, mid-launch or midweek launches are really important for companies because it gives them time to accrue some data and to test for bugs and to fix bugs before the weekend when the masses would be playing. And to launch a game on a Sunday seems a bit counterintuitive to me. I could be wrong because I've never hit the big red button before. But I know that there were some people who saw like 623 in like the Daily Prophet and in a couple of different bits of the location, or like different locations of the most recent trailer that we got. But I digress. I'll say I doubt it, but I'd love to for it to be happening soon. So
that's a really good point. I didn't think of. Yeah, Sunday would be a weird day to launch something.
Yeah, everybody be napping.
Yeah, I have to say that I don't think the 23rd is the day for it. As okay, I have to do a little backstory. From a while ago, like 2 months ago, a bunch of us were saying it's coming out on the 26th of June because that's the anniversary. That's when books are coming out. And it just seems like a big Harry Potter day. And that's 1 week after the WooTuber event in Hollywood. And so it's just kind of, it's feeling like that would be good. But then we had all that thing a couple weeks ago where we had this massive hype. And I even put out a video saying it's coming tomorrow. I know it's coming out. Everyone was set for it.
They got you.
And nothing happened. And so then I went back.
Video is exactly the same.
I went back and said, okay, it's coming the 26th. And now I'm very, very, very hesitant to think about any other day other than 26th because I got screwed last time and I'm not going to get it this time. So the 26th is when it's happening, not the 23rd. I'm sticking to that.
Attraction. He's committed.
It must be the 26th.
You could have
Exactly.
sworn up and down it was going to happen before Christmas and then been wrong then.
We were so young back then. So
It was a decade ago.
like lived 1,000 lives since November.
But then there's still a bunch of people thinking the 20th due to that one post from that one guy about that one AT&T event.
Yeah, that one post from that one guy who asked us.
That one voice in the wilderness.
Yeah, maybe that one guy is right, and it's coming the 20th.
And then that one guy went back and told everyone, don't talk about that post that I put out.
He didn't have permission, which really, when you think about it, means it has to be true, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like Dad said I couldn't say that, so.
I didn't realize that everyone on the internet could see the stuff that I put on the internet.
Forever. What do you think, Chris?
I refuse to speculate anymore because I have no idea and I don't pretend to know. And I'm not in the know. I don't get to go to the event that's coming up just because they in the invite they had the expenses paid, and I'm like, no, they won't. I asked and they were like, yeah, unfortunately we can't pay your expenses. I'm like, then unfortunately I can't go. Sorry.
That is the biggest roller coaster.
Yeah, I took it with a grain of salt when I got the invite. So because I'm not in that group, I have no internal connections. I have no news to share, and I have no idea when the game's coming out.
Well, I was talking to the guys before you hopped on, but I won't be going either because for the 2-person channels, the invite extended to one of the people, not both of the people. So James will be going. I will be here pretending that I'm cool with it. Not jealous at all.
That's the face that I made too, Chris.
Yeah.
I will say you could just have him FaceTime you and walk around with you in his pocket all day.
That would be really fun for both of us.
Interior pocket lining all day.
Oh, I think he's walking right now.
All I can hear is they're not even talking about the game.
Excellent idea. I'll see if James is down for that.
You can tell we're friends because we're already getting derailed on question 1.
Well, guys, moving on. I don't know.
I think we're all skeptical about June 23rd.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably agree with that. I mean, could it be? Sure, but it could be any day. Forever.
The only numbers in the trailers that seemed to actually add up to something was when March 11th was dropped.
Oh, actually, I think that's where that
March 11th was right.
Yeah.
That was the only number in the trailers that actually turned out to be significant because all of the media dropped their posts on March 11th. I know, because that's my
so cool. Remember how smart we felt that day when we were like, yeah, we predicted this. We knew it because of the numbers in that trailer. Like,
that was some good sleuthing. Good sleuthing, guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but they could do potentially another event that day. They could have a lot of like the 23rd could have significance, but I don't know when the release is because I don't I am not privy to that information yet.
I don't think anyone is.
It
Yeah.
could be another media drop. It could be, that's when everybody or everyone attending this event, that's when everybody could be ordered to drop their info. We don't know.
I think you sign another NDA when you get to LA and they sit you all down in one room and they tell you, and you can't tell anybody else.
I don't know.
That's how I think it in my mind.
Either way.
Potter in the comments said 100% not June 23rd.
Well, he is Alan's best friend. So
He is best friends with Alan.
he will be Alan's best man at his wedding for sure.
And Mark said anytime from the 18th. So
anytime between 2018 and now. And
prior to the
maybe
31st of December.
Anytime between January 1st of 2019 to December 31st of 2019. I think that's our window.
That sounds super plausible.
Possibly.
I'm down. I agree.
January 2020.
Soon. Soon is ambiguous, right? Soon is very ambiguous. It is in the
Soon
eye
is
of the
smart.
beholder.
Soon is smart.
All right. We ready for another question?
Absolutely.
Let's jump into this. So what is your favorite HP book / film and why?
I did not read these enough before the show.
My favorite book is Prisoner of Azkaban, but I always hate saying that because I feel like it's like the most basic answer, like everybody loves that book the best because it's the best one, but it's my favorite. It's just awesome. That ending was such a shock, like Sirius is there and then he hugs Lupin because they're actually secretly friends and you're like,
spoiler alert.
Lupin. Oh, you know what? Whatever. If you don't know the end of that, why are you even watching this video? Yeah, so you're like, it's just like the biggest, like your mind is just so blown when you get to the end of it, and it's just like, it's just the best.
I would argue that the big spoilery sneak attack at the end of the 4th book is even larger, but
you're wrong. I'm just
but I'm not next in the cube. Sorry, moving on.
No.
Is that your favorite? Is that your favorite movie too, though, Sue?
No. Well, I think The Goblet of Fire might be my favorite movie, but I'm not really like, I don't know. I'm less opinionated about the movies.
He asked calmly.
Did you watch
Yeah. Besides that, like, obviously wrong, ridiculous part.
I couldn't help myself. It's always open to the camera.
And you know that when they shot that scene, they were like, we're going to do 3 different versions of this. We're going to do a mild, medium, and super hot.
Hey guys, I'm going to troll the fans of Harry Potter for all of time.
Yeah.
Right. Slightly tweak this conversation.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I remember, I think we've talked about the movies before, maybe on a live stream. My favorite movie will always and forever be the first movie, because for what you can say whatever you want, but it was something about being able to visualize that reality finally, because in my head it had been so many things as I was reading the book, and now you have Wizarding World of Harry Potter all over the world, and so you can kind of imagine those places as well. But before that movie came out, like I didn't have a perfect like picture in my head of what I thought Diagon Alley looked like, or the Quidditch pitch, or the Great Hall, or anything like that. I just sort of had these ruminations, if you will, and so seeing that, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like seeing that movie and you watch him become a wizard, and that's just the freaking coolest thing to me is that moment. That's one of the moments where I think that those movie moments are really powerful, like when he picks up his wand and you see the lights and all that stuff. Like those are just some really, really cool moments, and the series is full of like iconic moments like that. But I think my favorite book is probably around like Goblet of Fire to Order of the Phoenix, because of like you see everything escalates so quickly and you see how much more real the danger is, whereas before it's always kind of like lighthearted and he's always sort of been bailed out. But then that night when he gets teleported to the graveyard, you're like, oh gosh, like from here on out, everything is just so much riskier, and you got like an actual chance to be dead.
Yeah.
And it gets dark just really quick, which was like, for me in that time of my life, I was going through that like sort of loss of innocence coming into teenagerhood, and I was growing up with Harry. And so I was like experiencing some of those same confusing emotion things. And so I was like, man, this guy just really gets me. Yeah, everything just gets a lot crazier. And that's my long answer.
For me, the books, it's solidly the Half-Blood Prince is my favorite. That's kind of like the big growing up book. That, especially with the ending of that, it's so powerful in many different ways. And I mean, the way the book is written, I mean, the whole time you're cheering for Harry to keep the textbook. I mean, it's finally doing well. You've got to keep the textbook. There's so much information in there. Why would you? And you get to the point where you have to realize, no, you have to make the decision to get rid of it.
Mhm.
And just there's so much rich, just growing up and reality in that book that I really enjoy.
But sometimes you have to let go of the things that you think are the most awesome because they're actually bad for you.
Mm.
And I mean, even that going into the end of the book, spoiler alert, you know who dies, but not who. But
Wait, what?
And then in book 7, they just kind of hang out.
Have I been reading the wrong books?
But I mean, movie-wise, my favorite is actually Order of the Phoenix, because that was the first book where it got so big that there's no way they could cram it into a movie. I mean, the first 4, they actually did a really good job of making the book into a movie in as much reality as possible. But book 5, 6, and 7, there's no way you can do it. I mean, even splitting the last one up into 2, it was but in doing that, it really was good to read the book and then go to the movie with the idea of, okay, how do you distill this down to the key features and still be able to hold the story together? But I think the reason why I like the movie I like the movie the most is that Umbridge is far more tame in the movie.
Yes.
In the book,
Yeah.
it's just like this.
Yeah.
The movie, it's okay. You kind of put up with her.
That book is so hard to read because you're so angry the whole time. And that's sort of magic on its own because she just got like, I think Umbridge is my favorite villain in Harry Potter. Like she is like,
She's my favorite villain.
Yeah, like maybe period. She's like the best villain. You get angry every time you see her name on the page, and it's amazing, but it also makes it makes it a hard book to read because you are right there with Harry. That's his angriest book. You're angry too when you read it because it's just like so infuriating.
And her character holds up well over sequential readings because I just finished the 4th time through the books, and every time I read that book, I get that book off and I'm like, okay, let's do this one. I'm preparing myself for it, but every time the character of Umbridge just gets a little bit more rich, and you start to see some more about it. And this last time through, I actually really enjoyed her character, and seeing how it came to life in retrospect of other things and how I've changed since the first time I've read it.
You love to hate her, and that's like a transcendent, like Sue said, power. Like, gosh, I hate reading that book too, but that's why it's my favorite because like I can't not.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sign of really good like writing and a really good editing team that you can put together a book that creates such a visceral reaction in like 98% of the people who read it. So that's wonderful character development, and I'm on board. Like when it comes to the books, like it's a toss up between 5 and 6. I really like Order of the Phoenix because of just how deep you dive into. It's larger than Hogwarts. It's the whole wizarding world.
Yeah.
And then I really liked the different dynamics and everything from Half-Blood Prince. And I'm a huge potions fan, and they play very prominently in that particular book. So seeing Harry finally doing well in potions when it was his worst subject, and then Snape is now Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. And so it's like a flip-flop that he's, worst in that class because it's taught by Snape. also sort of a commentary on just teachers in general.
Oh
But,
my gosh.
movie-wise, that's a tough one because I did like the way they adapted Goblet of Fire, and I did love seeing other wizarding schools. Despite them kind of messing up the whole like Durmstrang is boys only and the
Yeah, where did that come
but
from?
yes, but visually for reasons, nah. But I really really liked that the artistic feel of that movie and of the next one, the Order of the Phoenix. I thought both of those were visually very very pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tend to agree with James. I think my favorite book is The Half-Blood Prince. I really enjoy the character development in that, and I think it's because it's the finale, the wrap up of the whole series. Really, you get engaged in it so early in that book that you're like focusing on Horcruxes a little bit, and you're going through like a lot of realization of like how the story had been set up for so long. So I think that's always super exciting to watch and see play out. But I didn't enjoy the movie as much as I thought that I would. Like it was lackluster in my opinion. And I get why, because I think a lot of it is very like subtle nuances that you can't really incorporate into like a full length film that's attainable in a theater. That a lot of it is just a very long and detailed process of that, and that's what I enjoy about the book. Movie, I go back and forth. For a long time, I would have said Chamber of Secrets, but I did my rewatch this year, and I was like, man, I don't remember the graphics being this bad.
No.
The basilisk is like,
I might say Goblet of Fire. I think Goblet of Fire is really where they like got there, but I also really enjoyed Order of the Phoenix, and I think they did a pretty good job with like the cinematics of that, and it seemed to be a transition of how they ended up doing the filming style. So I like that a lot. I almost jokingly said like, "Wait, there's books."
We would have
avoided
kicked
that.
you out.
Got it.
it's always something with you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you think of the teaser trailer schedule?
What schedule?
Jeez.
Oh,
Is there one?
oh,
Someone accidentally
rough.
tipped over the wheelbarrow.
Hot stinking expletive.
It's confusing. It's confusing. It just they built up a lot of hype and then just kind of fizzled, and I don't know. It's just confused. I don't understand it. I'm sure they do have a schedule, and I'm sure they did it for some reason, but I don't know what the reason is, and it's not immediately apparent, which you would think that it would be. So I don't know. It's confusing to me.
Have any of you guys ever driven a stick shift car before?
Yeah.
No.
Of course.
That's what this feels like. Your first time driving a stick shift. They're like, all right, it's March 11th. Let's do
We
this.
promised them a trailer.
And they're like, let off the clutch. Let off the clutch. And you're like, they're like, no. Just put it in park. Put it in park. We're not there yet. That's what this feels like.
That's a good analogy.
And it just came to me in this moment. But no, it feels like they're like, okay, it's ready. Let's do this. We're ready. March is here. We're going to do the big blast, and we're going to do a bunch of trailers in the next month or two. And then we're going to have a really solid release date. And then like something maybe internally happened that we aren't privy to. And they were just like, we got to pump the brakes because XYZ reason that we may not ever know. But it feels like they were ready and then they changed their mind. And then they were ready and then they're changing their mind. And they're like, well, we paid for like all 30 of these trailers. So let's just like
Put them all out today.
let's let Terry the intern put a calendar up on the wall and throw some darts at it and see which dates he lands on.
Did know that Terry was really good at hitting the bullseye, which just happened to be all on the same day.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it was maybe there was like a release schedule thing. Like WB Games has been focusing on other games
Mm.
so far this year. I know they've had some big stuff come out, but like still like you still need to be building up hype for the games that aren't out yet, even though you're working on the games that are immediately coming out. So I was just
I don't
You have the
know.
resources. There's really no excuse.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think some of it goes back to like the whole Niantic being Niantic. Is that one of the things that sets Niantic apart is they don't do what other games do,
Yeah.
and they're always willing to try new things and play around with it. And so I think part of it was, let's just see what happens if we do this.
Well, I think that's a fair point because throughout the process and through the beta process of having it out in New Zealand and Australia, it might not have been Terry the intern doing marketing. It could have been Terry the intern had a great idea for something else to add to the game. And when he pitched it, everyone was like, oh my God, we really should. And that's what pushed it back.
That's a good point.
It could be a positive thing. We don't know.
They have been, I know it's been sort of frustrating or confusing to a lot of people, but they have been doing really interesting stuff with like how they're distributing stuff, because they've started reaching out to YouTubers and stuff really, really early. Like the game is not even out yet, and they've already engaged with a lot of different channels multiple times, and they're, it's not really clear why they're, how they're choosing who to interact with, but they are reaching out already. So it's really interesting. It seems like they're trying different things about, maybe they were trying to see if they could get viral marketing to happen organically, like by providing us with stuff. Like maybe they were hoping that different things would happen with the way that they were reaching out to influencers. But I don't know, like, yeah, so they're doing different stuff, and it's really interesting like what they're doing, but I don't know if it happened how they thought it would happen,
I would even argue to say that like Pokemon Go would not be anywhere near where it is right now without the content creators that are pushing content for it. Like one of the reasons that I got back into Pokemon Go after 6 months, I just stopped playing because it was kind of boring. Mm-hmm. And I was scrolling through YouTube one day and I happened upon Trainer Tips Nick and was like, oh my gosh, this guy's still doing Pokemon Go stuff. Is it still a thing? And I opened one of his videos and I was like, oh wow, it is a thing. And they're adding a lot of stuff. And so like, I think that they realized like the experiment that was Pokemon Go, like with that sort of crowdsourcing marketing and that entertainment that they provided, they're like, okay, let's try that here with this very focused group of people who are obviously very passionate about our game and want it to succeed. Like these are going to be the PokeTubers of Wizards Unite. You know what I mean? So I get that. And I think that that's really cool. I think that that says a lot of where we are as a society. But yeah, I really think John Hankey meant it when he said it will be out when it's ready.
Well, and on that same note about content creators, like we really should take a lesson from that some of this is going to be long haul. Mm-hmm. Like if we're going to keep an audience, if we're going to like really help the game from the game developers' perspectives, we have to still be here in 6 months if they have a lull of content. We have to still be here and still, help them keep some sort of engagement so that when they do roll out new features, we can re-engage the community and make sure the game stays alive. So yeah, long haul.
Yeah.
It's a long game.
For sure. This is not a, flash in the pan type of thing, I don't think. I think it'll just be more of a build up.
Yeah. And I think that's the exciting part. Like I think it's neat that they're doing something to try and stir people or like get them engaged early on. And I mean, clearly we were thinking it was supposed to be releasing last year. So I'd say that the scenario that we were in was unique in nature, that they weren't necessarily planning for this schedule either. Does that answer the question? I think so. I hope so. I don't know if it's the schedule that they had wanted, but it's not bad. And frankly, I think it's better to have something than nothing, even if it's not the time frame that I would necessarily do it, because I'm not a marketing professional by any means. Mm-hmm. Like maybe there's some sort of like deeper meaning or understanding that I just don't know about, that they're building up on, and maybe when we look back, we'll see some connections or hopefully something that might spark us in the future of like, oh yeah, they actually released a trailer on this day, and then maybe something in the game like a year later happens on that same day or something.
Ooh, that would be cool. That would require so much planning on their part.
So the three trailers in a row, back to back to back like that. Do you think that could be potential dates for Wizards Unite Fest?
Yes.
Lots of speculation right in
You
there.
heard
I
it
will
here
say
first.
100% yes, definitely. Like, for sure. Like,
Best.
you figured it out.
Mark
Crack
it in
the
the
code.
calendars now.
We can make our own event on that day to celebrate
Ooh.
how confused we were.
We
And
could
it'll be
do
great.
that. That's in our hands. We totally could do that.
Yeah, we can make that the hype days every year. Just Wizards Unite hype.
Where all of us
Couple of
plan to
days.
drop 3 videos on those 3 days, so like the entire internet is spammed with content.
Yeah. I would totally do that. That would be really fun. That's awesome.
So yeah, I think that's cool. It's cool enough. Hopefully we get something cool about that in the future, and we'll look back and be like, yeah, it was very, very well planned, very long planned. That would be
Yeah.
exciting. Are you still excited about the game? I think that's an easy yes for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there discussion on that? Is anyone not excited for the game now?
I just wanted to see how high I could make your eyebrows go.
I know Slitherwin is not excited at all. He just
At the
he's
end
not.
of
He's
every
done after all.
video, at the end of every video, I've been saying I'm just so excited for this game, and I didn't realize it until the other day. But I've said it in like every single freaking.
That's your
one.
sign off. I'm so excited, guys.
I'm
See
so
you next
excited.
time.
Just going forward for every video, like you finish playing the game, you're like, I'm so excited for tomorrow when I can play again.
But really,
I want sleep to be over so I can play more.
Yeah. And like, this is something that we have to be excited about it, you know, like, because if we aren't excited about it anymore, it's not like it's like all fun to have a YouTube channel, like it's work. So if we're doing all the work, putting in like research, you know, camera, like purchasing camera equipment, like doing all the editing, whatever, learning these new skills, and about something we're not excited about, like, no, it wouldn't be worth it. Like, I'm excited about the game. It's going to be awesome. I just wish I had it.
At the end of the day, I'm like, this is a video game. And if I'm not enjoying playing this video game, then I should just go do anything else, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like something, and we can all agree there's like something about that rush of like hitting publish or hitting schedule and like putting a video out there into the wild and like, you're my baby, go grow up and see how you do. We'll see how you do.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I think that if that becomes boring, then it's going to be pretty apparent, you know, because I feel like you can't fake it forever. And I hope that that's not the case for any of us ever, you know. But
I think one of the big things is that we've seen over the last few weeks huge strides forward in the game. You know, we've seen them adding the picture inlay. We've seen so much more data coming in from the data mining. There's all these things that we've seen that they like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to see why they've been holding off, because they've been doing all of this programming and design in there. And part of me is really happy that they did the beta event so that they could actually test off an event beforehand. That's a smart thing to do, even though I'm still bummed that I didn't get to be part of the first event.
I called that. I called that so hard.
I think it's worth it. And if we didn't get the game until this time next year, as long as we could see things like that, I would still be getting excited, because the amount of time, the amount of stuff they could put into it between now and then would make it that much better. And I'd be that much more excited. Yeah, so I am excited.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I mean, I only took a quick glimpse at the data mining because I don't tend to delve in. I want to be surprised. But I saw the sheer size of it, and I was like, oh, okay, there was
Yeah,
a
it's now
lot.
up to 3 gig.
Yeah, I just saw one thing about greenhouses, and I was like, oh, sweet, they really made that cool. And you know, then I stopped reading because I so badly just want to be overwhelmed in like the best way possible. Like I was with Hagrid's motorbike adventure the other day. Like I didn't want to see too much. I didn't want to hear everybody's reviews. I just wanted to experience the thing and then gush about it, which I totally did. So
And
I'm hoping for a similar experience.
you're wear your RPG pants because that's what all the best RPGs do. You get in and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's a lot to be excited about, and I think every time there is an update, every time there is like something new, I think everyone is in some way getting more and more excited about the potential for the updates and potential for what new features or new activities we may be able to see in Harry Potter Wizards Unite. So even without the game being posted or available for those of us here in the US, everyone here is. I still think it's exciting. I still think it's something that I'm excited about, and even if it's maybe a lull in some ways of like, well, I expected it to be out by now. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that that it's not something to be excited about, because I think I'm building anticipation even with knowing some of the features that are coming. But I do try and similar to Chris, like I'm trying to avoid some of the deep dives into like APKs and things like that, just because I want some sort of like excitement and surprise for when I actually play it the first time. I think it's going to be amazing, amazing, amazing. So super thrilled for that. Good question. We discussed it a lot further than I actually thought that we would.
Well, honestly, like if they had launched it in December, think about all of the things that would have like not been complete or ready, like in-game sprites or like really massive bugs. It would have like launched worse than Pokemon Go did with the server issue, you know? And I remember Reversal when he popped into the Discord that time and was like, just talked with somebody about it. I understand why it's so hard to launch because there's so much going on. And like you can, if you've looked at even a screenshot, you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on this screen right now.
Right.
So I feel both ways about it. Like I wish that we already had it, but I'm glad that we don't, because I don't want like a bad taste, you know? And I think that we all will benefit in the long run from that.
Yeah, good point there. Waiting for like actual like full development or something that will be like launch ready. That's a good point, and I think that's why they do beta testing, right? Like that's how they can work out the kinks before it just goes to us. And yeah, so I think that's definitely a good point. Next question: where are you going to be playing Wizards Unite?
Everywhere.
Everywhere that's convenient for me. Like, is that what the question means? Like
in the living room, at the
Ah.
I
park,
don't have context on this
bathroom?
one. So where are you
outside
going
of
to be playing?
my house, in
maybe
areas where
like
there are lots
location?
of things to interact with.
Maybe like where are you based out of, or like where are you probably going to be playing the most?
I looked at that and thought they meant like what kind of like, do you have like a place to farm that you're going to be spending a lot of time in?
Oh, sure.
I don't
I'm
know.
still confused. Like,
For me, there's a park about 15 minutes south of me, and it's a 2-mile long park right along the river, and there are Pokestops every 50 feet or so along the thing, and it's
awesome.
crowded from end to end, and it's perfect because you can walk end to end on it, and so you can go back and forth, and the whole time you're putting in your distance, so you're not like bouncing around the same area, so you actually get more distance out of it going straight through.
we actually live a couple minutes away from a downtown area that has a lot of stops in the downtown area, as well as in a park by the waterside, as well as like, so we live really close to a lot of really dense areas. So it's really exciting because I think we'll have a lot to do. And yeah, so I think we're a little bit lucky that we live in sort of a densely populated area, because we're going to have a lot of stuff around where we live.
Yeah, I'm sort of like along the same vein as you guys, Sue. I like there's I did a video of like where you should play and like advising like this is kind of where you could look for farming routes anywhere you play Ingress or Pokemon Go, obviously, you know, but right now there is a botanical garden in Birmingham that has 30 gyms or not 30 gyms, sorry, 32 Pokestops and 10 gyms in like a figure 8. And so you can just walk through and figure 8 through that whole thing and loop around. And then across the street from the Botanical Gardens is the zoo, the Birmingham Zoo. And that has like 5 or 6 gyms and the same amount of Pokestops. So like I'll be playing there a good bit, but there's also a really solid downtown area. There are a couple of really big parks. And so I'm like interested to see how the gyms and Pokestops translate over and to like how that's gonna change my frame of mind about where I play, but also that like I'm not going to have to go to the same place every single day if I want to play, because that'll help change up that monotony if things do get a little stale at times with content lulls. But like having 5 or 6 like really solid options to play is going to be a huge help, I think, to just kind of change it up every once in a while. But yeah, I'm excited for that for sure, to see how that like transfers over.
Sweet. Chris, you have some interesting places that you're going to be playing, right?
Yeah, I would say based on my t-shirt, right? Honestly, I'm in a really terrible position in general. I'm in Florida, which, yes, Wizarding World is here, but it's a 2-hour drive away. I can't just pick up and go there every single day. I would if I could, trust me. There will be weekends, I'm sure, where I do like 2 live streams, you know, back to back or something. But for the most part, I live really far in the suburbs. Closest place would probably be downtown Ybor, which is like a historical district just outside of Tampa, Florida. So that would probably be a haunt, but that's still a good 30-minute drive from me. So I'm not in the best position at all. Like the one place that I used to farm for Pokemon Go, every single Pokestop and gym was removed.
No.
Yeah. So we got shafted here in my little district of Florida. But there are definitely interesting places that I can go. There's a place in Sarasota called St. Armand's. Lots of Pokestops and a couple gyms there. So that's an option, and it's near a lot of shops and stuff. And so, yeah, there are a couple places that I'm definitely willing to check out, but I definitely don't live close to anything, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I will definitely bring the Universal Studios hype with live streams at the Wizarding World. So I'm very fortunate that I at least have that.
That will be super fun to watch, by the way. Can't wait for that.
Can't wait. I won't be able to claim copyright on anything, though, because the music is playing 24/7 there. So
just yell into the phone.
Non-stop talking. I can't stop talking.
Yeah. And now, as you can see, I am walking with my left foot and followed by my right foot.
There will be no dead air whatsoever. I don't know how I'll work it, but I'm gonna try and have some fun there, even if I don't make money off of it.
I think if nothing else, it'll be a very interesting place to see you play. And you were actually just there, right?
I was just there the last couple days. I did the math. I was awake for 61 hours and got 6 hours of sleep.
Ooh, that's
That's
not
10%.
enough
What
hours.
are you complaining about? That's 10%.
That's fine.
Was that one 6-hour rest period, or was that 6 hours spread out over a time period?
It was 1 5-hour night of sleep and an hour nap, and that was it.
How are you awake now? You're making me tired.
I got a good like 9 hours last night, and the night before that I got like 10. So I'm recovering.
Okay.
But I was literally breathing in, living off of the fumes of hype from the crowd when I was there. Because I was at Universal Studios, just for anyone who's not in the know. The brand new Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure coaster opened up. And so I was one of the first 300 to ride the ride, because I was in line, the first car in line to get into the parking structure at 4:30 a.m.
That is so cool.
I was living for your Twitter that day.
I got in my car and did my makeup in the car, and by the time I finished that, they let us pull forward, and they preemptively took our information, so we had our parking ticket, and then they said, go.
Oh my gosh.
I was the 6th person to park, at least in my parking structure, but everyone else, the moment they were out of their cars, they were running. I have a back injury. I can't. So,
no.
So I was like, I knew I had to be there early and park early, because I knew people would pass me running. So I was like, okay, I accept my fate. But I don't know if anybody realizes this, but at night, all the theme parks have to hose everything down. It's part of the maintenance for the park. So everything was still wet, and it's not even light out. We hadn't hit dawn yet, and everyone's running on wet ground. And I'm like, God, it's not worth the back injury. But everyone was running. So luckily, the way that they worked it at the park was at the gates, they had 10 stations where you could, get your card done and put your fingerprint. They let 10 people from each of the 10 stations into the park, and then everything stopped. So they did it by 100. 100, 200. So I knew I was in the top 300, but most of the people in my 100 passed me on the way there. So I was probably like 284th or something like that. But yeah,
put that on your resume.
it was really, really fun. Like, the whole experience was amazing. I don't know that I would do it again. I certainly wouldn't have done it for any ride not Harry Potter. So it was a very intense couple of days, but super fun. So if anyone wants to see me gush about the coaster, that was my most recent live stream on my channel.
Yay.
I had actually just gotten a Facebook memory from today, back in 2012, when Cars Land had opened up at Disney California Adventure.
Oh my gosh, I remember those days.
And I remember waiting in line for their like Radiator Springs Racers for 6.5 hours.
That's too many.
And afterwards, I just felt like death.
The queue for this ride at Universal, by the time all of us had lined up, literally the line went from Hogsmeade all the way to the entrance, and they stopped letting people into the park. The line, if you were joining the line after the ride actually opened, it was a 600-minute wait, 10 hours. And for a short period of time, it increased, and then it started to whittle down. I took a screenshot because I was like, oh my God. But for me, I waited, like, from the time I got out of my car to the time I rode the ride was from like 5:15 to 9:45. So it was about 4.5 hours for me, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all for like a brand spanking new hot off the press thing. That's actually surprising.
And without without too many spoilers, because you're going to be doing some stuff with that in the future, how amazing was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, like, I don't even have super duper plans for videos. I have some footage, but I'm sure it is shaky because I had no sleep. So we'll see how well it even turns out. But I'll try to put something together for everybody. But it was fantastic.
Stabilization.
Yeah, I would say the ride itself relies on acceleration, sudden stops, and one death drop. There's really nothing to be too triggery. It's a family-friendly coaster. It's not scary. It's exciting. So I actually really enjoyed it because I don't do too well with the 3D glasses rides that you have at like Forbidden Journey or the Gringotts Bank ride. Like, those two rides rely primarily on the 3D glasses in order to create the motion. This is it's the longest coaster in Florida. So there's a lot of motion. You go through a very long track. So that's where the fun is. That and just the theming is on point. So it's not a scary coaster, but it's very exciting.
That's so cool. I want to go.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So it sounds like you'll be definitely being able to like experience more of like a rural setting and a lot of different ways when you're like at home, but you will have the opportunity to go to like some of the coolest, in my opinion, wizarding places, like points of interest that are just incredible, and it, only a couple hour drive away. So I'm really excited to see that, and I'm sure your live streams there will be fantastic.
It's very hot and cold. I have like literally nothing outside my door, but then I'm only a couple hours away from like the best place ever. So
yeah, and another thing that I would mention, check your Ingress portals, because it seems like the points of interest in Wizards Unite are going to be more heavily laden than what they are in Pokemon Go. Yeah. So if you haven't yet, download Ingress, check out the map there, because you might be seeing some different stuff with that too.
That would be cool. I'll have to check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting. So we got 2 like Metropolitan, 1 like very sparse, very exciting, and then James, where did you say you were gonna? You said there's a park, right?
Yeah, there are a bunch of parks, but there's one big one where I'll be spending most of my time.
Sweet. Mine will be, I don't know.
TBD.
TBD is definitely my answer right now. I don't know where I will be playing currently, but I might get the opportunity to have a really exciting travel-ish trip where I could actually play all across the US. So we'll see.
That
That'd be
would
sick.
be so cool. Oh man, that would be
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what that will look like yet, but I'm hoping to do a series of just like traveling across the U.S. and being able to like play in all sorts of different types of towns and cities and rural versus like big city areas. So I'm hoping to be a wizard throughout the world.
That would
Like
be the
the
best
Wandering
series.
Wizard, the Wandering Wizard series or something.
That would be so cool.
Well, there is already another YouTuber out there who is the Wandering Wizard, so
Okay, sorry.
I will not be the Wandering Wizard, but
The
You
wizard
can
who
be
happens to be
super
wandering.
nice.
You can be a wandering wizard.
Very exciting stuff though. So hopefully I'll have a good series going for that. I will have some more details soon, TM.
Hear that a lot lately.
Okay. We did already talk about release, so when will it release? We don't know. Next question. Who is your favorite Harry Potter or Fantastic Beast character?
Ooh.
Ooh, I have an answer for this one.
Go ahead.
If anyone else needs time.
Mine is Moaning Myrtle.
Say something else.
Do it again. Do it again. Dance, monkey, dance.
When I was
Entertain us.
inside, I got very distraught.
I love that.
Oh,
That's so
She will make an
amazing.
appearance on my channel at some point. I have way too much fun with the voice for her.
Oh my gosh.
You should just play as her one day.
Oh, I probably will. I have a lot
Pre-death.
of women. Did you not see my Valentine's Day video? I did a whole love poem to Draco Malfoy.
Oh, I did.
It was
I saw it.
fantastic.
That was awesome.
Like, next person?
I think my favorite has always been Neville. I think I just really love his whole arc throughout the series. Like he's just like, you just feel bad for him throughout most of the time because he's awkward. He's not good at magic. He's, his pet is a toad, which is so uncool. And you know that just instinctively, you don't even need to be told that. And like, he's got no parents. Snape is super mean to him. And it's just like, Neville, you need a hug like all the time. And you love plants. Like everything about him is just like, oh, Neville, like
Nerd,
I
yeah.
feel bad. And then like for it to come down to like, spoiler alert, that it was between him and Harry, and it could have just have as easily have been Neville, instead of Harry, and then to have him be the one who gets Nagini in the end. Like it's just like so cool to see him like find his confidence as he gets older and just like become like a real person and not be afraid all the time and not be hiding behind everyone else and kind of just hoping not to be noticed. Like he's the one who's talking at the end when Voldemort has everybody like silenced.
Such a powerful moment.
Such a powerful moment.
You just gave me chills.
I did
Stop
too.
it, I can't deal.
So that's why Neville's my favorite because it's
He's
just
such
like
a late bloomer, and that's the wonderful thing about him because so many people can relate to that of living in someone else's shadow and not finding your confidence until way later on.
yes.
But then when your give a damn's busted and you finally come into your own, you kick some major, butt.
Some major blast-ended screw.
major patooties. Yeah.
Family friendly. Oh, what's the alternative word? I haven't had enough sleep.
Because I mean, we grew like I think most of us kind of grew up with the books. I didn't start reading the books until I was like in my late teens, but like who has not felt like Neville, like just the biggest loser in the room, no matter what room you're in, and you just like have a hard time and like it's just like nothing seems to be working, and then suddenly it clicks and you just like who you are, and it's just like, oh, I love Neville. I love him so much.
Yeah, all of his character traits, that's good and all, but can we talk about that glow up? I mean, come on. Matthew Lewis. Whew.
I know. I wasn't going to bring it up, but
No, I love his character a lot because I mean, it just goes to show, like, when you stop trying to be someone else and you just become yourself and who you're meant to be, like, so many great things there, so many great things. I think that I always struggle with this whenever I think of like favorites, because I love all of it. But I think that there are two characters in general that I really resonate with. One is Sirius, because you can see him striving so hard to be James for Harry, because he feels that loss. Like, they both are experiencing that loss of his parents all the time. And so he's like struggling to be, he's almost like a stepdad that's like too cool. So he's like more of a friend than a dad. And to see the reality of his existence as like having to live under like his own house that he despises because everybody believes him to be something he's not. And so like there's a lot of reality and depth to his character, but I would say even more so for Lupin, because of his lot in life. Has been cast as a werewolf, and he is looked down upon, and he himself, because of all of that, has like just decided that he's not fit to be a father, and he's struggling through a lot of those things. And like, I'm not a werewolf, but when I found out that I was going to be a dad, like I struggled with a lot of the same things. Like, am I ready to be a parent? Because I have all of these things about you, but then that redemption, in the end is just such a cool thing. And I think that like the orphaning of Teddy Lupin is probably one of the more tragic stories in the entire series. Like,
God, spoiler alert.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, and Harry and Ginny get married, everybody.
I hadn't got to that part yet.
But there's just so much depth and richness to so many of these characters that it's really hard to pick. But I really resonate a lot with Lupin because of that self-doubt and because of that that stigma, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Being an outsider, I would say there's a very common theme in the books for that. That a lot of the characters are different brands of outsider. Being forced into outsider status or having been just born that way. Because everybody has baggage. Everyone's got that backstory that in a lot of ways is traumatic for them, but it's part of what defines them to the world around them. Not necessarily who they are, but what they have been raised into. So there's a lot of that in the theme of the book. So there are a lot of very powerful characters that everybody can connect with because we've all had these bits and pieces in our own lives. It's very good storytelling.
I have to go with Barnabas the Balmy.
Why?
He is mentioned in every book. And it's one of those interesting tidbits that's always kind of funny.
Cameo guy.
Guy number 2. That's
He's part of the calamity, isn't he? He's going to make it in the Wizards Unite as well.
He could be.
Honestly, if I have to pick a character, I go with Hagrid. The fun-loving, happy guy, and of course, he's the one who says, "You're a wizard, Harry." That goosebump moment. That's just and the way he's always kind of like that bellwether throughout the books of, Dumbledore. He's always praising Dumbledore, and I like his character. It's simple and very honest and very straightforward.
I think if the books didn't have Hagrid, then it would almost be like too sad because Harry has nobody, like Harry needed an adult in his life who was there for him all the time and who wasn't also like a big authority figure, like a teacher or a headmaster who he really couldn't actually talk to. Like Hagrid is the dad, and it just, he serves such an important function in the books and in Harry's life. I think he's so important to all of the stories just for being there and being kind,
There's so much talk of Sirius being the father figure for Harry, but really Hagrid is the father figure for Harry. He doesn't take that, like you said, sort of the struggle between being a best friend and a dad. Hagrid doesn't really have that. He's very fatherly and keeps that sort of warmth and discourages Harry from breaking the rules and stuff like that. Whereas Sirius is like, yeah, go do the thing. So there's
except for like dragons and stuff. Like,
right. But, that's his own perspective of loving monsters, and so there's a lot of acceptance with Hagrid, which is really cool. And even though I said Moaning Myrtle, it's not like a really serious answer. I really do love Luna Lovegood in these books because she is that slightly psycho character that is completely okay with being her own individual self and accepts it very early on that she's not normal, but that it's absolutely okay to be that way. Like, she's just 5 steps ahead of Neville.
Yeah. She's totally herself.
At one point where she's like, I hope they have pudding. And I can see Nargles, and no one can convince me otherwise. So I really do love sort of the juxtaposition of her character versus the others who are still trying to come into themselves. Luna already has, and part of that is her very unique upbringing. But she owns it, and I love that. I love that there's a female character who completely owns it. Hermione is good at that too, but Luna's on a different level, a different level of weird, which I love.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, I'd probably say the Dark Lord is necessary in every one of the books. You would not have a plot without the Dark Lord.
This coming
Therefore, the Dark Lord is the most important character in Harry Potter. Is what I would have said. But you have to remember that the Dark Lord would not have chosen Harry if it had not been for Trelawney's prediction. And I think Trelawney is my favorite Harry Potter character.
There were so many plot twists in that, what you just said.
I thought he was going to say...
Tony had to plan that.
I thought he was going to say, and Trelawney's prediction wouldn't have been exposed to the Dark Lord had Snape not been... Snape is my favorite character.
I had quite a few plot twists ready, but I think that's the fairest one. I love Trelawney. I think she is one of my favorite characters because she is so, I think, out there, like a very unique professor for sure. And I think you're always in this like, I don't think you're right, but then you find out, oh, she was actually really good at predicting the future throughout it. And like, if you actually pay attention to her character, like, she knew what was going on, and everyone just discounted her as like a crazy person that didn't know what was happening.
I like to think that she was just kind of making it up, but then was accidentally like on point.
I like the thought that she was told, well, you're not good. You're really not. You have this legacy in your family of all these people who are wonderful at all sorts of divination, and you're kind of the dud of the family. But, even through that, even though she probably doesn't believe things herself, she fakes it until she makes it.
She freaking made it.
But also, you look at the way she instills that in her students so that even if they don't think they have the skill, look at Ron, all of the predictions that he made where he was making stuff up, all of that happened within the plot of the books.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, like, I thought I was going to do this. And, he's like, oh, I was going to have a illness. Oh, I didn't put that in, but this is a good one. Like stuff will blow up or whatever. Like they put in all these things just making fun of Trelawney, and yet when they did that, they sort of tapped into her same crazy energy, and all of those things came true too. So I love the sort of twist that J.K. Rowling put in there because oh man, Trelawney was great, and
I
Emma
think she's the
Thompson
best.
was so good at portraying her.
And the rest of the staff is like protective of her. Like even McGonagall was like, no, she's staying. Like, this is my girl. Like, come eat Christmas dinner with us, you crazy old lady. Like, we're just like, they just love her so much. And it's cute. It's cute.
Yeah. I've always been a Trelawney fan, and every time that I read the books, I actually notice something new about Trelawney and like some of the predictions and some of those, like kind of what Chris was mentioning, like that whole like, yeah, the kids like write stuff and it's true. Like they have like tapped into like the craziness, and I think it's interesting because Trelawney routinely predicted the Grimm for so many characters
Mm.
And then the Battle of Hogwarts came. And it's something that, yeah, she had been predicting it maybe for a while before. We don't know when she did, but it's like, oh, like you're talking back to like some of the younger, like, or some of the older Weasleys, and like, oh yeah, she predicts the grim on everyone, and it's like, well, but it's real.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
It's like it's
Predicts
not
nothing
a,
but doom and gloom, and people are like, "You're so crazy." Like, just wait.
You'll
I
see.
see things you don't see.
it's actually crazy. I made a video a while back after one of the trailers came out and was like speculating on it. And this is actually, I may blow your mind if you didn't know this, but Trelawney also predicted the Calamity. And I'm not kidding.
Wait, what?
I'm not kidding. Trelawney predicts the Calamity in the Half-Blood Prince. Whenever, when Harry's like trying to track her down, or track Draco down, and he's like being all sketchy and ditching out on stuff to try and figure out what Draco is doing. She comes out of the room of requirement all like accosted and looking confused. And he's like, and Harry's like, what happened? What happened? She said, I was just in there. And she's got like her arms full of sherry bottles that she's been drinking. She's trying to hide them because that's where she hides all of her liquor bottles, is in the room of requirement. She's like, I was just looking to dispose of some stuff. And so she like dumps it all in a vase, and she's talking to herself like as she's walking, and she's drawing these cards, and she'll say, she says like 2 of knaves, a boy. I can't remember. This is paraphrasing, but it's like a boy pursued by darkness or something like that. And then she says calamity. Like she says the words calamity in her monologue. I'm not kidding, guys. I'll send you the picture, but just know that she is the best, worst divination teacher Hogwarts has ever seen.
How did I miss that video? That's amazing.
I'll try to find it and I'll send you a timestamp or something.
I
But
hope that's why they called it the Calamity. I really hope it is.
I only found it because I was reading through Half-Blood Prince and I was like, what did you just say?
No, get out.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's awesome.
That would be great, because I mean, if that really is the reason they called it the Calamity, how great is it that the developers are that deep of Harry Potter?
If that's where the name came from, I want to send them some flowers or something, because
Right.
that is like
I just
amazing.
found the picture clicking through my whatchamacallit. Do you mind if I read it? It's just
Go
like
for
a
it.
small little couple sentences.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is from the Half-Blood Prince, I think chapter 26, maybe. This is just a guess. That sounds familiar. Okay. Okay. So she's actually, this is after Dumbledore shoot her out of her office. Sorry, not the sherry bottle scene. The headmaster has intimated that he would prefer fewer visits from me, she said coldly. I am not one to press my company upon those who do not value it. If Dumbledore chooses to ignore the warnings, the cards show ... Her bony hand closed suddenly around Harry's wrist. Again and again, no matter how I lay them out, and she pulled a card dramatically from underneath her shawls. The lightning struck tower, where Dumbledore dies. She whispered, calamity, disaster, coming nearer all the time.
Soon.
And then, of course, Harry goes, right. Well,
Okay, crazy lady.
I still think you should
Oh,
talk to
man.
Dumbledore.
Ah!
If you know the depth of meaning behind the tower card, oh man, I didn't pick that up, but I'm currently rereading the books for the first time because I only read them once. So I didn't catch that. Now as an adult, I get a whole lot more meaning out of that. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Good find, man.
And on top of that, I just thought of this too. Towers, fortresses, are they that different when you think about it? That's a bit of a stretch, I know, but
We can connect some dots.
we can make it. We can make it.
We can get there.
Wait, so if there's a tower, that's a fortress, and fortresses are something that we might see in something to come. And if that's connected, then the books must be looping around to say.
Yeah.
It.
Everything
Lost
you
it.
just
I
said.
need my corkboard. I need my corkboard and a bunch of string.
Red
and
string.
pins.
It has to be red.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. A little bit personal, actually. What is your favorite non-Harry Potter book?
Oh, don't ask that. That's a hard question to answer.
That's an easy one.
Oh, go for it.
Ender's
Feel
Game.
free.
Ender's Game, all the way. That's the first book that I ever read cover to cover in one sitting. The first novel, And I started it one night and I read the first chapter or so. And I went to bed and I was just thinking about it and dreaming about it all night. And I woke up and I decided, no, I'm going to do this all in one day. So I sat down and I started in the first chapter, went through it again, and did the entire book in one day. And I just, yeah, absolutely love Ender's Game. The rest of the books in the series, not so much, but Ender's Game is phenomenal.
In a similar vein, I'm a huge Tolkien fan, so Lord of the Rings is really high up there, and it was intended as one book, not three. So, Lord of the Rings. But the geek in me also wants to say the Lays of Lathium, which is book 3 of the History of Middle-earth series.
Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
geeky, and I really like epic poetry. So, like, me and my partner are huge Tolkien fans. Like, that's how we met. She made Cinderin language lessons that I took while I was in high school. So that's how we met. But I really enjoy the Lays of Lathian. So I'm gonna be a complete geek and say that, I guess. But really, Lord of the Rings is what started the whole Tolkien thing for me. Very, very special book.
I'm trying to remember. I really enjoyed the series of Unfortunate Events books. I read all of those and I liked them okay. Nothing. I'm trying to think. Like, honestly, nothing really. Like, it all sort of pales in comparison to Harry Potter and how much time I spent with that. But yeah, I read Ender's Game. I liked Ender's Game, the first one. I do have an answer. Okay, thank God. I was like, if I ramble long enough, my brain will start to work. Ready Player One is
I like that.
Probably
so much.
one of my favorite books of all time outside of the Harry Potter series. I read it once every year. I have read it literally. I have read the cover off of the book. Because I had a soft cover version and the cover has come off of the book now. So it's a really, really fun read. And I feel like anybody in nerddom would really enjoy it because there are so many references to everything that I feel like there's something for everybody. And if you've been like a big loser like me for a long time, then you get a lot of them. But yeah, no, it definitely is one of my favorites, and unfortunately they completely botched the movie, but
well, they had to. There's no way they could capture that in the movie.
Legally,
I haven't read
they
it.
could not legally do anything.
I tried to read it and I couldn't get into it. It was like too many references for me.
Yeah,
so I
you're super into it, or you're like,
yeah,
I don't want to read just references.
that was one of my fastest do not finishes ever.
Down.
I got I stopped like 5 pages in. I was like, no, well,
that's
done here.
My circle of friends, like whenever we hang out, we are pretty much quoting movies or like doing other comedians' bits on each other, just like for callback purposes. So I really appreciated the references and stuff, but I definitely would say that it's not for everybody because it's very cumbersome, like how much stuff there is in there. But yeah, it's a fun read.
It's such a popular book. I mean, people really love it. So it's awesome.
Have any of you gone through the Wheel of Time?
No.
No, I've heard it's good though.
I think I'm on the Wheel of Time.
It is the biggest slog there is. It's 14 books. And an
You're not
audio
doing a good job pitching it to us, James.
In audio books, it is 30 hours each book. On the paperback on a shelf is 3 foot long.
Can I get paid for listening to it? Because that sounds exhausting.
It took me 6 months my first time through it, but it's well worth it.
It never seemed like it would be like that huge of a payoff to me. Just, I don't know. But I have read, Brandon Sanderson actually finished that series for the original author. And I do enjoy a lot of Brandon Sanderson books. He writes a lot of like epic fantasy and his.
If you like Brandon Sanderson, you'll like Wheel of Time. They're very, very similar writers.
It's only a large investment to purchase all of these books for 12 easy payments of $129.95.
I do really like fantasy. That's the genre I read and that's the genre I write them in also. And so it's hard for me to answer the what's your favorite book question because there's so many different books that I turn to when I'm in a different mood or like I reread books all the time. Like there are a lot of people who only want to read a book once, but I reread books all the time. So it's hard for me to pick just one, but there's like Howl's Moving Castle. That book is amazing. And Enchantment of Ravens is a really fun, quick fantasy book that I really love. It's got more classic fae than you see in a lot of different books that have fae nowadays. And it's just like, so that question like gives me instant like paralysis because I'm like, there's so many books that I just want to give shout outs to that I'll stop myself because I have so many favorite books. There's a lot of them out there.
Can I do one more shout out? Quick book?
No. Yeah, do it.
Mercedes Lackey did a trilogy called the Last Herald Mage trilogy, and it was the first fantasy book that ever had a gay main character that I read, and that was really impactful for me as someone who's LGBT. So I figured that was worth a shout out because there is conflict in there, and it is a kid-friendly book series, but it didn't matter that the main character was gay, and it was part of his character development, but it didn't end up being what defined him.
Yeah.
And so I really resonated with that. And I didn't read that until I was in college. So it was really wonderful. But I thought that was worth shouting out.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah. For me, gosh, I think it's really easy to say, oh, well, like I have a favorite Harry Potter book. I find it very challenging to say, what is your favorite book or favorite book that is not Harry Potter? Like that's a really hard thing for me because it's very conflicting as well. And I think that's always going to be a challenge. But I would probably go with I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. So along with the Harry Potter books, which I read every year, I do reread that book as well. It's poetic in nature, but it's a very intriguing and enticing story, and I feel like I get new things out of it every time. Very, very impactful and very challenging. I think it challenges you to like really confront like bad situations in the world and see what you can do. Like I think it drives you to like be a better person in general.
I think that's
awesome.
important. Like I probably wouldn't reread Harry Potter if it didn't offer something new to me every time, or like I didn't come back with a new takeaway. And I would just say that about content in general for everyone, like if you're not learning or taking stuff away from that, then is it really worth our time? Because we've only got so much,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely that's a book that I reread regularly, and it's good. It's a very, very well written. I think Maya Angelou is a phenomenal writer, very expressive, and it's good. I also really like Ready Player One, and Phantom Tollbooth, Home. It's one of the first books that I remember reading as a kid, and it was just awesome.
Super good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
okay, so if you could use dark magic and not get in trouble, would you? Britt, is this your question? Did you ask this to us?
This feels like a trap.
Feels like a Brit question.
Could be a Zoe question.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Snitches and witches, you hear? Throwing hard ones. Sue, let's hear it.
If I
Dark
could
magic.
use dark magic and get away with it. Depends on the dark magic, I think. I don't know. Does all dark magic by nature have to hurt somebody?
Situational morals.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to hurt somebody. It can be self-serving, but it doesn't have to hurt somebody.
Yeah, if it didn't have to hurt somebody, then yeah, totally.
Well,
Why
in
not?
the books, 2 of the 3 unforgivable curses were used by the main 3 characters.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To everything there is a season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally would. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think situational morals is a great way to put that, because like I mean, that's one of the reasons I like Order of the Phoenix so much is you see that moment where Harry is so fed up with everything that he's like, yes, I'm going to use whatever I have at my disposal to inflict pain upon this person who's taken away one of the last people that I have, and so I get that. But yeah, I think it just depends on the type of dark magic. I do know that regardless of whatever type you use, there are consequences. So any type of magic does require a consequence, and more often than not, dark magic's consequences are far greater and far more painful in eventuality. So I guess it really does depend on the circumstance. I don't know. I'm like lawful neutral when it comes to that.
Like if I'm the one paying the consequence for the magic, then yeah, then it's up to me, So if I've decided that that's what it's worth to me to get whatever I'm getting from the magic to pay the consequence, then that's fine. But I think the problem with dark magic is usually somebody else is paying the consequence for it. So I think that's what really makes it dark is that you're like somebody else has to get hurt for you to get the thing that you want. So this is sort of a hard question to answer because there's a line that you got to draw that always applies, right? But
But it's hard to tell where that line is.
Yeah, where's the line?
Situations.
Yeah. It's like that movie, The Box. Did you guys ever watch that?
No.
It's a terrible movie, but it's essentially basically hinging on you can make a decision that will help yourself out infinitely or as much as you want, but somebody is going to die in the world. That decision exists, and so you see that unfold.
They made a whole movie out of that thought.
It is not a great movie. Let me reiterate that. It's not a great movie. Rotten Tomatoes, I don't even think bothered with it. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy. Who hasn't answered yet?
I haven't answered, but yeah, I mean, I'm currently writing some fiction that involves blood magic, so there's a certain fascination in me for blood magic, but that's really dark stuff. But if we're talking zero consequences at all for doing it, then depending on the situation, sure, I would absolutely, if it would, save someone without having that dire consequence, because it usually, performing blood magic will have a blood cost elsewhere, that's the save a person but it kills someone else kind of thing. So it can get really dark really quickly, but there is a weird fascination in me for that. So I would ask myself, in the right situation with zero consequences, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think I have an answer for this. I think dark
Not
magic.
fair. You have to.
I thought you were gonna say I thought you were gonna go, absolutely, and then just move on.
Yep. Next question.
I think yes, absolutely is real, but I think that's a technicality. Dark magic and unforgivable curses are not the same thing. Like Flipendo, a knockback jinx is technically dark magic that you would have to protect yourself from. But as we see in the books, all dark magic leaves traces, I believe is the defining mark. So
oh my gosh, Wizards Unite tie-in. Traces.
Oh yikes, I wasn't even going there.
I know.
Where's my corkboard? Yeah, probably. Circumstantially, sure. Why not? Y'all know everyday Imperio is one of those things that I would be down for.
For sure. Immediately, all the time.
These aren't the things you're looking for.
Control my circumstances.
You won't eat your vegetables? You will eat your vegetables.
Oh, you would use it to get people to be healthy. That's cute.
Not all the time. That's
Worst
just
piece of
something I
dark
would
magic
say.
in history.
That's just something I say online, on live internet TV.
That's where his mind went. I will get them to eat their vegetables.
Stubborn toddler. It's my biggest problem right now.
Are you sure you're not a Hufflepuff?
100% positive.
Might want to.
That was awesome.
It is for Pizza Potter.
That was awesome.
man.
Okay. What profession? I'm assuming in Wizards Unite. What profession is the best?
Professor.
No comment.
Ready, Sue?
All right.
All right.
All right. All right. Yeah, I don't know. That was a really successful chant. We did a good job.
But we're so disorganized and busy doing stuff that we,
You're
Orders are
wrong,
not planners.
Professor.
We're just doers. We just make it happen, you know. Actually, I have tried to stay unspoiled as far as I could. I haven't really watched any footage or like looked at stats and breakdowns or whatever. So I have no idea. Hopefully there is not a best profession. You know, hopefully they're just different. And it just depends on what you want out of the game, you know?
Yeah, I know that it was floated for a while that if you're going to be a solo player, which for me is pretty pertinent because I know nobody who's going to be playing this game locally. I'm sure there are people, but I don't know them.
You will inspire them.
Yes, you will know people soon.
But if you're going to be a solo player, it's been floated that Magizoologist is a bit overpowered on that kind of gameplay, so that might be a good choice. But me, I'm going to be switching between the three just to keep all of my live streams really fresh. I'll be trying all sorts of things out.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that without spoiling anything, well, whatever.
Go ahead.
Cover your ears if you don't want a spoiler.
There has been report that at this day, in this time, all three professions have successfully soloed the toughest in-game encounter, which is another issue that I don't even want to get into. But they're all good. I think that is the most important thing for at least the first 1 month of the game, is to create an atmosphere in which players can really enjoy any play style that they choose, like whatever their preference is. Some people prefer to hang back and be a healer rather than a DPSer. Some people, like me and Sue, just run into the dark without thinking, and that's why ours are great glass cannons and great like DPS. And then professors are there to kind of like oversee the situation and be like, hey, you don't do that. Hey, stop doing that thing. Put that down. But yeah, so I think that they all three have their place, and it really at this point seems to be like preferential as to what your play style is. Like how do you want to play the game is completely up to you, and you can succeed in any facet. So I think that that's cool.
Mm.
Yeah, everyone's going for balance when it comes to the game development. They want these three to be on relatively equal footing so that nobody feels bad for any choice that they do make. Even if there's a little friendly rivalry, it won't be like, oh, you made a mistake joining that group.
I think it's so cool. Like the game, there are some parallels to Pokemon Go, but I think it's just so cool how they made it so that your one-time choice that you make at the beginning when you don't really know anything about the game is not going to tie you down for the rest of your entire career in the game. Like it's really cool how you can transfer and you can develop your own set of skills as you see fit. And like it just, there's so many things about this game that are just so exciting. And I think that's one of the best things is that if you decide on a profession and then you decide that that's not what you want to do, you can switch.
And you don't even have to pay $10 to do it.
You don't even have to pay $10.
I'm sorry you chose instinct.
Hey, let's not bring that into the discussion.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's a best profession, but I will be a professor, and therefore the best profession is a professor. I'll just say it. No, I think it's good to have balance. So I think the best profession is the profession that speaks mostly to like how you want to play, along with those around you who want complementary roles. So I would say it is more valuable to have like friends. Like if you're going in and you're saying, oh, well, my friend is a magizoologist, like cool, be something different because you guys can do fortresses together and that'll help you out the most, in my opinion. But if you want to just be a group of magizoologists, then do that.
And nobody will get hurt.
Yeah, it'll be the biggest tank of an attack ever. It's 5 magizoologists all going after it, like biggest tank ever. Yeah, be who you want to be. Be yourself. whatever speaks to your soul, just be
Yeah.
that.
Hashtag deep.
I love everything you're saying right now, man.
We'll
Awesome.
always be here, man.
Just be you. Stay beautiful.
Oh gosh.
I didn't know. This is like we're getting like life coaching right now, and I like it.
10x your gameplay.
If you could relive any moment from the books or film, what would it be?
Ooh,
That's another easy question.
do it. Go for
Felix
it.
Felicis.
Wait, what was that?
Felix Felicis.
Oh yeah,
It's like
That's a good
the
one.
moment. I mean, you can't get any better than that moment because that's the perfect moment.
I love the part in the movie where Harry's like,
Yeah, they've got pincers.
Sisters.
like I cry laughing every time I get to that part. I have to stop.
Oh gosh.
I would want to relive the moment where the owls get interrupted by the Weasley twins with fireworks.
Oh yeah.
Because seeing Umbridge get kicked out was the best. Because she's such a viscerally upsetting character that it was really good to see someone, have the cojones to bring in some levity.
That is one of my greatest disappointments about the movies is not being able to see that little section of swamp that they left.
I think the thing I would want to relive is also from the movies. Just watching the first movie was my first experience with Harry Potter. Like I hadn't read any of the books. I really didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was a thing that people really liked. And it was just that feeling of watching it and being totally unfamiliar with the world. I had no idea where the story was going. And just that feeling that I had after I watched the movie was just like, it just felt like magic was a real thing. And it was just like, oh, I wish that I could go to Hogwarts. I wish I could, see this myself. Like, it was just like such a real, excitement almost that I had just seen what I had seen. And I just I wanted to be part of it. And I mean, I was like a teenager, I wasn't like a really young kid when I watched this. So it's just it was so magical that it even as a, mid teenager, I still felt it, and it was just so real to me. So I wish if I could relive a moment, I would relive that, how I felt while I watched it for the first time.
I think for me, it's a couple of different things because I want to experience everything. Like getting a wand would be unbelievable because it's like that. Like you can be told that you're a wizard, but when you get the wand and you're actually doing that magic, then you feel like a wizard, like you are. And then any Quidditch scene at all, just any Quidditch scene, that first match he plays on his firebolt that they completely excluded from Prisoner. Oh my gosh, just be so amazing to get to experience that, or any of that. I don't know, anything that involves broom, flight, any of that stuff. That's what I would want to do.
Anyone else?
I would probably, oh man, there's so many good parts that I'd want to relive. I think I would really like to relive the scene where they're breaking into Bellatrix's vault and they fly the dragon out.
That's the best. That whole scene. You're dying while you watch it or read about it. It's just amazing.
Yes.
Because that's the whole thing is well, we've been wizards in hiding our whole life, and here we are breaking out of this giant bank with a dragon. It just shows you how desperate they are, But it's also just totally awesome.
It's gonna be totally awesome.
I think that would be awesome. I would love to fly out with. Can you imagine flying on a dragon? Let's be real.
Well, apparently it's not very comfortable.
I'm on my way, guys. Hold up. Hold my phone. I'm hopping on my dragon right now. I'll be there in a minute.
Chris flew on a dragon.
What?
I did. Now that you mention it, yes. For a short period of time to promote the How to Train Your Dragon movie that came out, Universal had a green screen activity where it was just a little box, very nondescript. People didn't know what it was there for. You waited for about 15 minutes and they green screened you onto riding Toothless, as if you were in the movie trailer. So they had like 3 different motion capture cameras and they superimposed you into the trailer. So I do have a tiny little video of me riding Toothless. I think I posted it on Twitter. It was really cool. That's my one and only dragon flying experience, though.
That's awesome.
Sweet. So any info about achievements? Do you know if they will boost the game? So very, very, very recently, some folks have found out that achievements are going to be something in Wizards Unite. Will those give a game boost?
What?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have been staying away from news, so I have no idea.
Will they give game boost but what does that mean though?
What is a game boost?
I would assume like if you get an achievement, then your character becomes minutely better or something along those lines. That's my
I'm
best guess.
assuming you will be given an award, maybe scrolls and books, in which case you can cash those in to improve your character in your chosen profession. But that is an assumption.
I think that maybe on less of a game side thing, it'll be really good for immersion. Like there was that screenshot that I saw that said Wandering Wizard. That's like one of the achievements or whatever. And I immediately was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what I'll have to do to get that, but I
want it.
Yeah, like I'm going to get that. I promise I will. It's just such a cool alliteration, first of all. But yeah, I don't know what that means exactly, but I think that those things obviously give you a carrot to chase, and that's always great to have something to go after.
Yeah, I would say personal achievements are not to be undershadowed by some sort of in-game reward. I think it's valuable just to chase after things sometimes and really do it because you want to earn that prestige point. You want to earn like something that is like unique and special to you. And I don't think we live in such a transactional society, right? It's like, well, I'm not going to go after an achievement because I don't get something out of it. Like you get part of the chase. Like I think that's a good
The
thing.
richness of that experience, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that that's something unique to you. And I don't want to feel like everything has to be a transaction. Like, oh, you have to give me so many extra points or scrolls or whatever because I reached this thing. Sometimes it's just fun. Sometimes it's just like, oh, well, I get to use a special title now, or I get to use something that's unique to me and my character. So would it be cool to be rewarded for it? Sure, but sometimes I think we just need to like really be content in the idea that it's okay to just earn a regular reward for being a regular person, and that's okay.
I am just putting this out there that if you get a special achievement for having a ton of encounters with Moaning Myrtle, if they call it the U-Bend friend, then I'm totally down.
That is solid. I love that.
That needs to
from my
happen.
brain universe because I would love to have my wizarding name and then U-Bend friend.
That would be so cool.
Hire me, Niantic. I have all sorts of these ideas.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's fair. Do you think that the game will launch worldwide or just for selected countries?
Tough question.
I hope it'll be worldwide.
I hope so too.
I would just feel so bad if it launched somewhere or here and not everywhere else, or I don't know. I hope it's worldwide.
I'm guessing it's going to be a stair-stepped release like they did for Pokemon Go, but they'll do it a little bit faster, like more every day rather than every other week.
What would be the point of doing it every day like that?
It just gives you server recovery time, so you can make sure you have the servers in place and everything is running for that. That way you can have your team focusing on one country at a time as opposed to covering the whole world.
Yeah, the whole world is a lot. That sounds so, that's like such an obvious and simple thing to say, but I think that with Niantic involved, you have to try to hold on to whatever precedent there has been. So like no big release date given, sort of flying by the seat of our pants. Like those things are things that have come over from Ingress and Pokemon Go. And so I feel like dually about this because like I'm excited because I know that because I'm an American and that we're probably going to be some of the first people to get our hands on it. But on the other side of things, I think that it really sucks, especially like knowing Malcolm and like his channel, The Sylph, which is a fantastic channel. He's been killing it. He lives in the Philippines, and so he may not get it until a month after we've had that. And so not just from a content creation perspective, but like as a friend, like you want to be able to play with all of your friends and be able to talk about the same stuff. So that's kind of tough. But I mean, just simply from logistics, you can't just push one button and launch the entire globe or the game won't work. I don't feel like it would work at the scale that, they would need it to. But that's just a guess. I could be wrong. Hopefully there is a global launch. I'd love that, but we'll see.
Isn't that why we put everything in the cloud? Isn't that a thing? I don't know. That we can just do everything all the time now? I think that's a thing. No?
Totally.
Okay.
One day.
That's what it's it. That's it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It would be neat if they did kind of like that global launch, but I think there's a lot of challenges with just doing the idea of having to put out a fire at like 17 different locations around the world is problematic. So not just like timing issues for different servers, but also making sure spawns are working and regions are popping up, and there's a lot to deal with that. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe they found a way to do that well, but I think a slow rollout is probably more likely. And even so, you have to remember that some places didn't get Pokemon Go. Like Russia just got it
For
at
a
the
long time.
September 2018.
Yeah.
South Korea got it in like January of 17, something like that. Oh yeah, Russia was 2018. 2018, Russia finally got Pokemon Go. And there's still places that don't have it. So sure, it's going to be locked in some areas probably because they don't seem to partner maybe with those countries, or like the country doesn't want that in their region. So they've chosen not to allow it. I remember watching Trainer Tips and Holly. They were at the airport one time trying to play Pokemon Go in China.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. You can't do anything. Literally nothing. Nothing location-based works at all in that airport. So they're sitting there like Nick had tried to do his reward for 50 kilometers walked, I believe. So like his 50K walking was supposed to be popping up while he was there, where he should have gotten an egg. He tried pretty much anything, like opening, or like he couldn't send or open gifts that would be from China because you'd have to get one from China. So assumably it's really hard to get in some areas, and it'll be a challenge for certain areas, but hopefully it's a quick release if it is staggered.
Yeah.
And hopefully they got a lot of lessons learned from that last launch.
That's the hope.
Okay, what are your guys' thoughts on Niantic cracking down on spoofing?
Good.
Do it.
Yeah, go for it.
You're gonna have to go outside to play, you nerd.
Can we call anyone a nerd?
I take my glasses off.
Yeah, I mean, like I read an article about it. I mean, there's like people who are, you're basically taking their content and changing it and making it so that people can cheat. So, yeah, that's your stuff, and they're changing it. So go sue them. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and for those of you that haven't heard yet, that was something that was just announced, I think, today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like brand new news out there. Niantic's cracking down, going against those different companies that have been profiting off of Niantic, Niantic's hard work. So good for them. Good for Niantic for going after and really claiming their intellectual property. I think that's important.
Mhm.
I think the idea of intellectual property is very, very important across the board.
It really is.
That we need to protect that because those are people that have created something that is unique, that is adding value to specific people. And I think it's good that they're taking action to ensure that that's protected to the best of their ability. That anyone who is a creator believes in that, believes that we really need to go through and protect our stuff because that's our work, you know. And anytime we make something, if we don't want that to be redistributed or copied or produced somewhere else, then yeah, we have the right and we have the obligation to do so, and really to protect that.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
go on Niantic, protect your stuff.
Agreed.
Okay. So would you be interested in Wizard and Witches meetups? If so,
No.
why?
No, no, I don't like meeting people.
I hate people. Why would I have a YouTube channel? I hate people. The whole point is I don't have to go outside. I don't have to do anything but sit in front of my camera all day.
Isn't that why we all spoof?
Right? Duh.
See, this is when you're starting to like approach hour 2 and Slytherin is rubbing off on everybody. Caught the smoke.
No, that's actually the reason, because there's the WooTuber event coming up on the 18th on Tuesday, and I didn't get an invite. Oh well, but I'm actually going to fly out there just for the off chance that I get to hang out with people. I mean, because there's what 5 to 8 YouTubers getting together in one area. It's like I want to be a part of just hanging out if possible. So just for the meetup, that's worth flying all the way out to California for.
Yeah,
I desperately wanted to go, but with only like 4 days notice.
Yeah.
Them saying that they can't cover my flight, I was just like, I can't come. Like I looked at flights from the Tampa airport and they're running for anywhere from $900 to $1,300. And I was like, I can't drop that kind of coin.
That's why I'm happy I haven't
sorry, guys. Keep me in mind. Keep me in mind for anything that happens in Orlando or in the southeastern U.S. But I can't make it up to Cali in 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But you are interested in doing meetups.
Absolutely.
we're like pseudo planning one right now. It just happened the other day that we realized, like, wait a second, there were a lot of people in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And it would be really fun to do something, you know, just to I think that it logistically will be very, very hard for all of us to get in one place, just because we're from all over the world, but there are also 30 of us, and getting 30 people to do the same thing is like impossible.
Yeah.
Whiz You Fest.
Whiz You Fest. Whiz Fest. But
Yup.
I think that the community at large is such an integral part of what we do. Like if we don't have people that watch our videos, then we can't really make videos, you know. We could, but I mean just my mom would watch them. So but yeah, no, it's such
Not even my mom would watch them.
my mom asked me what I was doing today, and I told her this, and she was like, "You still love Harry Potter that much?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mom, until I die, it's gonna be this one."
Always.
Yeah.
Look at her always.
My mom watches every one of my woodworking videos, but she doesn't watch any of my Wizards Unite videos.
Harsh.
So her love is conditional. No, but yeah, I think that it's a really fun thing. I mean, like I'm a little ball of energy, and there are 5 of us or 6 of us here, you know, and so like I can't wait to be able to get into a spot where we're all actually hanging out and getting to meet other people. I think the word like fan is stupid, and I hate that word. I just want to meet other people who love Harry Potter. You know, like-minded individuals, and so I think that's going to be really, really fun. And I can't wait when we do get to do something like that. Yeah.
You want to meet up with the Harry Potter fans?
Yeah, fellow Potterheads unite.
That would
exciting.
be fun. It'd be
Yeah.
so cool to have everyone get together.
I'm
Because
gonna-
it's, I mean, we're like talking to each other constantly, right? On Discord and like, hanging out in live streams and watching each other's videos, commenting on each other's, like we're all on each other's social media like all the time. Like we're up in our biz all the time. So like actually meeting you guys in person would be so cool because we've been friends for like over a year now, right? So it would just be awesome.
It's like
Yeah,
low,
I mean, I got a
low
tiny
interaction.
I got a tiny hint of what it was to be in a crowd full of Harry Potter fans this last week. It was pretty intense. And to be in a place where it's like specifically geared around this game, it's going to be really, really awesome. Because honestly, like there were a few people that I talked to that were like, I can't wait until that game comes out. When's it coming out again? And I was like, soon, TM. That was all that anybody really knows. I was like, well, here's the best theory, but I have no way of knowing. I'm sorry. But I can't wait until the game's actually out and all of us can, plan those moments of just geekdom where we all just sit around and geek with each other. It would be great.
Time too, because we're not speculating. We're not busy making crap up.
Yeah, we won't be grumpy anymore. It'll be great. And I think it's just so special because like people who love Harry Potter, we all just are in it for the story and the characters that we love. And like they could have given us a game where it's just a lot of grinding and you're just catching stuff, but it looks like they're giving us what we already love, which is stories based in the Wizarding World. And it's just like they have like years worth of storyline planned. So it's just going to be hopefully a continuation of what we already love about Harry Potter, just really involved in the magic and in the world and just like immersive. And I'm so excited for it because once we find our group of people who are going to be playing in our areas, it'll be really cool.
Well, and even beyond that, adding to that, like the scope is not just local, like this is a worldwide game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so not only meeting people close to us, but meeting people from far away who just happen to be in the right place at the right time and meet us. Like how cool will that be? I can't wait to see people from other parts of the world because the game itself, even plot wise, with that redacted letter, we involve 4 or 5 other ministries. And like it can have a global community, and I love that because it means that we'll be meeting people that in any other circumstance we probably wouldn't meet ever. So that has me super excited, not only to like explore other parts of the Wizarding World, but also meet other players to whom those parts of the Wizarding World would be even more meaningful. So there's a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really exciting to really have the potential for it. And I recently did a meetup, so yeah, super down to meet people. I hung out with Kellen from Wizards Tricks. Super cool guy. Had tons of fun in Santa Monica, California. It was incredible. So I was out there very early May. I finally got the video up. Yikes. 6 weeks later, casual. NBD, but it's there, so you can see it. We had a super, super great time. And there's more to come, right? Like there's more opportunities to really meet up and hang out, and it's crazy. I'm really, really excited to see the potential of what the game could be and how that's really going to lead us all back together. Of course, like meetups are incredible because there's so many different things that we all think about, and I think we all see things in a very unique and important way for the game. So, yeah.
Agreed.
So, with that, what was your favorite quote from this series?
The one I always go to is something that Hagrid says. I don't even remember what the context is or what book it's in, but at one point Hagrid says, "What's coming will come, and we'll meet it when it does." And that is like, I hang on to that some days because I overthink things and I get like worried about stuff that's going to happen and I get in my own head. So it's just like, okay, what happens is going to happen. We'll deal with it when it happens. And so like, that's one of my favorites right there.
Yeah. Hagrid is just like full of that like raw natural wisdom that's mostly accidental. Like he says stuff and you're like, oh my gosh. Mine is, of course, from Dumbledore because he's like the most quotable person in the whole world. He probably is like quoted as much as the Bible, but he says it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live when Harry is standing in front of the mirror of Erised and the Philosopher's Stone / Sorcerer's Stone, and he's so immersed in what he is fantasizing about that he literally ignores Dumbledore as he runs in, or he like is not eating throughout the day. He's not like thinking straight because he's so obsessed with the fantasy of like meeting his parents and seeing them. And I get that, but I mean, that's so applicable to anything, like to not get so distracted and so immersed in what you're daydreaming about that you forget to exist with your family. Like sometimes I just have to like put my phone down, like if I'm really involved in a Discord conversation or I'm involved with something on Twitter and I'm realizing my daughter's standing there waiting on me to like put my phone down so she can ask me a question. And that's just like kind of like a slap in the face, is like, hey, like stop being so attached all the time and just be here. And so I think about that all the time.
I guess I'll go. It is a quote from Dumbledore, and I'm not even a huge Dumbledore fan, but I do like how he puts this. He says, "The world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are."
Yeah.
I really like that quote because we like so often to put things into boxes and into the black and white, when really almost everything is on some sort of spectrum. And this isn't just me rah rah Pride Month. Things really aren't just light and dark. Everybody's got, something going on, has a backstory. They aren't just evil. There's something there. You're just not able to see it. So it's a reminder to, not only be conscious of our choices, but be conscious that everybody's also making their own choices. And we can't always know what's going on in the background. So people are complex, treat them as such.
I love that. I mean, that's so true.
I read a lot into stuff.
I feel like it's meant to be that way though. Like those moments of depth are there.
Mm-hmm.
So rich.
Yeah, mine is also a Dumbledore quote.
Oh,
Dang it. But it is based on a Harry Potter quote. So Harry has found himself in a very clean King Cross station, and it is illuminating white, and he sees the
I know
image
where
of
this is
Dumbledore, and he's saying, "Tell me one last thing," said Harry. "Is this real, or has this been happening inside my head?" And Dumbledore responds, "Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. But why on earth should that mean that it's not real?" I enjoy that because I think routinely we forget how wonderfully creative and imaginative every person is. That we have a lot that goes in our head. We have a lot of internal monologue throughout our existence. That a lot of times we speak to things that are very unique and complex, and we doubt the actuality of whether or not something could come true because we have believed it or because we have thought it. Um, and the reason that this speaks to me particularly is that uh, every time that I continue to learn new things about the world, or try and like challenge status quo, it is very easy for me to get in my head of like, oh, well, this is something that's just a hypothetical, an abstract thought or idea. But I come back to this and really think through. Just because something isn't tangible currently doesn't mean that it's not existing, doesn't mean that it doesn't have value or credo or credence within it. Um, and because I believe people to be endowed with very high intellect, high ability to do and produce and create things, I always feel like that is something that pulls back into the reality that that is. If you kind of like the Walt Disney, like if you can dream it, you can do it mantra, that when you think of something, you can start to like really breed existence into it and give it life. But it depends on you and it depends on your actions because we choose where to go from where we're at. So if we think of something and we choose to do nothing, then yes, it is something that did exist and is no longer coming to life. But if we believe something and find a way to do it, we have created something and really given life and value to that. So that's where I go with that usually.
That's so cool. That's a really interesting way to apply that. That's awesome.
I think through things a lot.
I think we're all relatively cerebral individuals. I think that's what brings us into this creative space of making content on the internet. That, you know, we have thoughts and we feel the need to share them. Because if we didn't feel that forward movement, we wouldn't do anything. We wouldn't get anything done. We would just, you know, sit back, be introspective, but not feel any sort of need to put it out there. So it's a unique quality, I think, to us content creators that we have thoughts, but we can't shut up about them. It's a good
Yeah, definitely. And I really like to think. Well, I think I do.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of really good quotes, but that one I think has always stuck to me, and it's true. That you the individual, you the person, you have the opportunity to do some incredible things, but it depends partially on you. Like you have to go out and really work towards like the dream that you have. But just because it's in your mind doesn't mean that it is not real. It does not exist.
That is so cool that like all of us shared a quote that seems it's so personal. Like it's a quote that isn't a book that millions of people have read, but you can pick up something that is just like so specific to you in these books. And it's just really special because we've all found something that has helped us like find clarity in something that we were already thinking about. Like that's really cool how that happened.
Yeah. So if I can say at least a bit of advice to whoever watches this, whoever ends up listening, be who you are and don't assume that like your mind is the limit. That what you actually think up, you can do.
Don't dream it, be it.
Be about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So next question we have here. Which wizarding school would you want to attend if you couldn't attend Hogwarts?
This is my question. This is to see who's been reading Potter more.
I know what Chris's answer is going to be.
Oh, do you? Do you really, though?
You would say Wagadu.
Yes, I would.
But only because that's how you say it on Twitter, if I'm being wrong.
Yeah. I did a lot of research into the other wizarding schools at one point, and Wagadu's my favorite.
Well, I mean, go ahead. You might as well talk about it.
This wasn't meant as an excuse to talk about Wagadu. But,
you submitted this question, didn't you?
Wagadu is a wizarding school in the continent of Africa. Nobody really knows where specifically, but the general consensus is somewhere near Uganda. And the way that they send their invitations, like, you know, rather than the letters that they get from Hogwarts, they go into people's dreams and you get invited to the school in your dreams.
What?
How freaking cool is that? That, and because wand magic, the wands are a European invention, magic done at Wagadu is done without wands. So it is, I guess, more gesture-based, and like there's a different way of performing magic that doesn't have to do with waving a wand about. And I thought that was really intense, and they also have a very good speciality of transfiguration, which is the second favorite subject for me. I love potions and transfiguration. So a lot of the students at Wagadu learn how to transfigure themselves into animals or like half animals and stuff. It's pretty intimidating, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Can we have a series set in Africa then? Like, dang.
Right?
What?
Like, you know,
I want to see that.
Like there is a Wizarding World equivalent. I was like, I really want to see what's going on. And then my second favorite would be Mahotokoro. It's very close second. That's the Japanese school.
Cool.
When you were saying that, I was definitely imagining like Dragon Ball Z, like casting of spells.
Right, right.
Would it be like it'd be more like water bending or earth bending? It would probably be more like
That's how I
feeling
like
the elements and channeling that energy like through yourself.
Hopefully not like Scarlet Witch, like ooh.
The creep.
Now part of my visualization for it though is also from what they termed as the grown-up version of Harry Potter, aka the Magicians, because theirs is very it's almost like finger tutting. If you've ever seen that done in like music videos, they had to learn how to finger tut to take those acting roles, and so it's really interesting to see that be a way that magic is sort of summoned and manipulated. So I sort of in my head viewed it as a combination of that and like earth bending, water bending, fire bending.
That's really cool.
It could be really, really neat, and I'd love to see it actually showcased in some sort of content from J.K. Rowling. It's like you put this on the internet, and now my imagination is going crazy, and I want to see more.
So I think that there has been rumor that they will be visiting, well, not necessarily visiting the school, but that this next Fantastic Beasts installment will take place partially in South America, like Brazil. So there's a chance that they could go to Castelo Bruxo, which is the Brazilian school there, which would be neat.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Any part of the world. Mine actually would be Mahotokoro because of the they're like it's an extremely renowned like Quidditch school. So they would be like super, they're really intense and very like disciplined, which I am not. But the Quidditch aspect is drawing me there. Like the Japanese national team has been like infamously good for a long time.
Yeah, that's so true. That and it's a really good dueling school. So their spell work is very precise.
I could use some of that discipline in my life, probably.
I don't know what other wizarding school I would want to go to because my nostalgia is so firmly attached to Hogwarts, and I haven't dug so deep into Pottermore to really know that much about the other ones. So yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about Durmstrang. I just think it would be kind of cool to see, like, to actually go there and see if, like, what it actually is like, because you kind of get the impression that it's like very dark arts heavy, like very sort of like a bad dark place. But Victor Crumb was like a super nice guy. So like it would be cool to see what is it actually like over there. I would like that.
I think a lot of that has to do with the headmasters who have been in charge of the school, though. Because for a period of time, it was nothing but Death Eaters, and we saw what happened when Snape was in charge of Hogwarts. The Death Eaters teach classes and such. It really depends on the tone that's put behind the school. So, yeah, I would say it would be interesting post Voldemort to see where Durmstrang goes.
Yeah, post Grindelwald, right, and post Voldemort, like when they're not in charge, see what it would be like.
I go back and forth, probably Overmorning because I'm here. Like I'm in America, so that's where I'd go. Like the real answer, right? Like it's location based. So Overmorning.
The one you want to attend, not the one you would default.
Required to attend.
The fact is the easy answer, though. Possibly Beauxbaton, actually. I mean, Nicholas Flamel went there. He was pretty famous alchemist. Like, I could probably learn quite a bit there. They had a good relationship with Hogwarts. It's not an all-girls school.
It's not.
For those interested. But I would be super down. I think that would probably be neat because you would still be part of the Triwizard Tournament. That a Durmstrang. Why not? Just learn a lot in all of them. But I don't know. I'd want to see more development into each of the schools, if that makes sense. Like, it's cool that they have, like a little snippet on Pottermore, like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool in this unique school, but
Which is why we need 10 more series going into each of the other schools.
I look forward to the JKR production studios. Or hey, JK Rowling, just make a YouTube and
Just sit there and talk.
do some production stuff.
Fireside chats with JK.
Yes. Can you imagine
Yeah.
how great that live stream Q&As with JK Rowling?
And what we need
People
is
would be so mean.
what we need is a proper like TV series. Come on, Netflix.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why they haven't gotten on that. I thought that there was actually a really, really, really good Hogwarts Origins fan-made poster once. It came out about the time that Game of Thrones started. I think somebody used some of the assets and made like a Harry Potter looking thing, but it was like about the 4 founders of Hogwarts, which would be sick. There was also a fan-made Marauders.
I would love a Marauders era
I
show.
have a whole playlist on my
I would
channel.
die.
Nothing but
I want to
these
see that magic that they had to use to make the Marauders map. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. How did they do that? Also, we got a hilarious comment. Someone said there must be an Italian wizarding school. Imagine the wand movements there. That's why I laughed a minute ago. 'Cause I saw that comment and I was like, oh my God.
It would be a very dangerous place to be.
You're going to get your eye poked out. That's the biggest danger.
God.
Anyway, sorry. I just like hopped in there.
that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny.
Yeah, super great. Fireside chats. I'm down for this. Netflix series down for this. Ooh.
Yeah.
Detective Hogwarts, right?
Detective Hogwarts.
Oh my goodness.
It's Peeves with a detective hat
Or-
on.
Like a Tom Riddle spinoff series. That'd be cool.
I would love a Tom Riddle thing.
A
because-
villain origin story for Tom Riddle.
Not
Yeah.
Umbridge. Not Umbridge.
No.
Not
Don't
Umbridge.
care. Don't
We
care.
all know how
Origin.
boring-
Not Umbridge.
We all know how boring her life was. She's
I don't need an entire series of her just going and rearranging the pencils and pens.
Oh my God. I feel like we all know people too like her for that to be interesting. Like I already know their life story because I already know her in real life. Like I don't know a Voldemort. Let's go talk about some Tom Riddle action, you know?
Right. Umbridge is so unlikable, I don't think she could star in anything.
No. Perfect villain. Don't want to see her again.
Oh man. Yeah, I could definitely see that though. I think that'd be kind of neat to develop further, of course. But I think there's a lot of stuff. Like I think Fantastic Beasts was like that starting realm of like, hey, we're gonna start back in the wizarding world. We're gonna have stuff going on, and they did change their branding, so it's no longer like the wizarding world of Harry Potter, but it is just the wizarding world. That it's not exclusive to a very small subset in England or Scotland, or it is not like revolving around like Great Britain only, but could actually, continue to develop further, right? And that's the excitement of it, that the Wizarding World is never done telling us new stories about what's happening and about how but I think we have a lot of questions, so we're always a little bit concerned about that too.
Please do a good job.
Where's
more
McGonagall
retconning.
again? Where's McGonagall? How old is she?
Oh my gosh.
We'll figure it out.
Super Carlin Brothers.
Super
provide
Carlin Brothers.
The only possible explanation.
I still don't love it though.
I
But
don't
it like
either, but they don't either. But they're like, this is it, or we're all gonna be angry.
yeah.
There will be rioting in the streets.
I would rather just be angry than for that theory to be the actual explanation. I would rather just have it be an Easter egg gone wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, ugh, whatever.
But who
Never
is
mind.
Nagini? That's the question we were all wondering.
Yeah. And she had like one line.
Like all in the trailers were like,
She didn't
what?
have one.
What?
left, and then
What? And then it's nothing. It's just
Nothing.
Nagini is a person.
She just follows him around the whole time and is sad. I'm still angry about that movie.
Cregan,
Didn't get the explanation I wanted. I don't know how they became friends.
she and Cregan are so emo. You just don't understand.
Yeah. I'm
Just
too
like we
old
have
to understand.
feelings.
Gosh, oh man, such a crazy experience. I think that is our last question. Look at us go. Hey, we made it. James did say that the power went out at his house. That is why he has dropped off the stream. But I know that he was super glad to be here. I'm super glad to have all you guys here on the channel. It was incredible as always. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to any of these people, all their channels are linked down in the description. Make sure you go give them a follow. They're awesome. They're amazing content creators. And oh, we got the Nargle glasses going.
Got the
Let's
glasses.
go ahead and start with some sign-offs. Sue.
This was really fun. Thanks for having me. I always really enjoy talking to you guys. And yeah, subscribe to Slitherwin and everybody else. They're all pretty awesome.
If you see that red button, just poke it everywhere. Yeah, no, I obviously love getting on and talking and going through questions and just thinking about things in the wizarding world in general. It's always really fun. I will be something coming down the works for me is I have started a DIY series because I don't know how long we're going to be before we get this actual game. I have started some Quidditch supplies. So if you like that kind of stuff, you want to get your hands a little bit dirty, really easy. I'm not a professional builder of things, so I'm just like proof that anybody can do any of that stuff, and that's coming down the line. So if you are into that,
That's
be up
super
soon.
That's awesome.
And is that going to be on your Animagus channel as well?
Yeah. It will be on. It'll be on my main YouTube channel here. I'm not going to do any different channels or anything like that. It'll just be under a different playlist, but it'll be like pictures on Instagram and videos on YouTube. So
Awesome.
And again, I'm Chris from Wizard Way. I have my Nargle goggles on now. But this is really just to say that I am working on the Universal footage that I did for Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. And it will be hopefully coming soon on my channel. Soon TM, because my life is crazy and I don't always have time to edit my videos, which is why I will be primarily a live streamer for the game.
Sweet. And I am Sutherland. I am so thankful to all of these folks that were able to join us today. I am also very, very appreciative to the community for being so supportive, uplifting of content creators like us that are growing and learning and becoming hopefully who you guys want us to be, answering those hard questions. If you ever have questions, feel free to shoot them our way. We'd love to create some new channels, new videos, of course, surrounding those questions. So hoping to do monthly live stream Q&As here. And as always, making new videos for Harry Potter Wizards Unite coming soon TM.
Soonish.
Yeah, soonish TM. Thank you guys again for being here. Y'all are amazing, and see you guys next time. Slytherin, out.